And another departure in the EFL led to the appointment recently of Michael Skubala, who's earning his first stint as an EFL manager at Lincoln City. A real warm welcome from us at 72 Plus. Really appreciate you taking the time out to join us in what must have been a hectic first week, 2 away games. Talk us through that, and how's it been for you?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's really good to meet you. Whirlwind to start, as I think everyone knows, coming into a new club and new changes, trying to get to know the names, trying to get to know the group and the team, trying to meet all the staff. Just a really busy time. And then obviously 2 tough games to go to, one at Stevenage, which is always going to be tough, and then Leyton Orient away. And then we're into 2 more in the next few days. So yeah, bit of a whirlwind, but really enjoying it.
Yeah, we've got a man here with us again who knows about the football club better than most. Dan, any advice, I suppose, that you could give to Michael in terms of getting off to a good start and I suppose trying to contribute to a successful period of time for the club?
Yeah, I'm not sure Michael needs my advice. He's obviously had a brilliant career to date and a really unique journey to get to this point. But certainly it's a wonderful football club with an incredible support base, and a football club that definitely has a special place in our family's heart, and it's always one of the first results that we look for. And it was we were really pleased to see that last minute winner on Tuesday night. That must have been some feeling for you, Michael.
Yeah, I think I agree, Danny. I think it's got an amazing feel about it as a club. That was one of the things that really sort of attracted me to it. And coming from Leeds, which has a similar feel, well, I keep saying it, like a family club, but also really good fan base. And like you say, it's a really good culture at this club as well, with the staff and the players. So some good things built in the background over your time and then other managers' time. So to pick up the baton is amazing in that way. Get the late goal is always nice, isn't it? You know, when you get a late goal away at home, it's one of the best feelings, and I think you saw that. But I thought the lads dug really deep. You know, it's hard sometimes in the EFL. You've got to dig deep. You've got to earn the points, and I thought they did really well on Tuesday night.
Michael, a slightly different pathway to some first-time managers. Do you think that different experience and across different areas of the game gives you a different perspective on things about how you go about your work as a coach?
Yeah, I think so. I think every coach's manager's journey is different. I think we have to accept that every manager's coach's journey is different, has to be different. I think mine's pretty unique in some ways, but you still have to do the hard yards and the graft and drive the minibus and do the kids coaching and work it all out. You have to do that. And then I think then the other stuff, the tactical stuff, working across different teams, Premier League, different areas of the game, probably gives you that little bit of difference. And I think you need to be a little bit different, but also put the hard yards in to get to the opportunities, really.
Absolutely. And certainly in terms of those results so far this season, we saw your interaction with the fans after that win. I mean, again, coming to Dan, how important can those fans play in terms of the role, the support that they're going to have in terms of getting you upwardly mobile at Lincoln City?
Oh, I think that the supporters are incredible at Lincoln. I think it's a really unique football club. I think it's a football club that kind of is a little bit off the beaten track, and as a consequence of that, the people have such a feeling, not just for the football club, but for the city as a whole. And they kind of call themselves yellow bellies, and there's a huge affinity and allegiance with the football club, and that can be so powerful. And they will definitely get right behind you, Michael. And it's never easy to start any tenure with 2 away games, is it? Particularly going to Stevenage, which I thought was just the toughest of assignments first time out. But it'd be good to get back. I should call it the LNER Stadium, but for me it's always Sincil Bank. But either way, it'd be brilliant for you to get there Saturday, and you'll really feel the 617 boys who are in the top corner of the co-op stand, and they will get right behind you. And I think it's never a 11-man job winning any football match. You certainly need your supporters. I can see already that you've connected with them, which I think is really important.
Yeah, I agree. And I think probably, like you say, as managers and experiences, you can see when you have the crowd with you and how important it is for the players, and when they're on your side, and even when you're 1-0 down but they're with you, it really does drive the players on. And I think from me, that's what I see these fans are really good at already, that they want to get behind the team. And you can see it when fans aren't behind the team, you can see it when fans are. And I think that's a really good group of people that I'm going to meet on Saturday. I'm really looking forward to it.
Michael, just in terms of that win against Leyton Orient, I know you made a couple of little tweaks at half-time. You got yourselves a late winner. Maybe one criticism about Lincoln City in the past, there were maybe times where, not negative, but maybe didn't go for results as much as maybe fans would have liked them to have done. We see amount of bodies in the box at the end of that game, committing players in there to try and get that winner. Is that something we're going to see from you and your side, maybe a little bit more that search for those 3 points rather than maybe settling for a point, which again has been a little bit of a criticism at times?
Yeah, I think so, but it's easier said than done. Even though you're trying to do it, it's still easier said than done. So I think, being committed to keep trying and keep going. And like you say, I call it pushing the game. And I think that's where the fans come involved, try and push the game. If it's 0-0, let's try and push it. But within aspects of being not stupid, but when we feel the moment, like try and push it. And I think that's what we did really well on Tuesday, where, like you say, we're still getting bodies in the box, but ultimately there's a risk to that. And, I've got to learn the balance of that. And also I think the players have to learn the balance of that. So I think being balanced in the risk is so important.
And just in terms of when I look at the team and the squad, maybe goal scoring's been a little bit of a problem overall. I know injuries have played a huge part in that, particularly to forward players. Is there anything in particular you're looking at to try and improve that trend? Is it just a case of getting some of those quality attacking players back? And is it something you've already clearly identified in terms of wanting to improve once you're now there?
Yeah, been a whirlwind, so not quite got to that yet. Just a few injuries. So just trying to get a team on the pitch that can be competitive. And then when the changes come, try and keep competitive. So sometimes when you have that amount of injuries that we have, other players have to step up and other players have to be supported to do well. And I thought, young Jovan came on Tuesday night, and I think it was amazing to see a homegrown Lincoln player come on the pitch and do really well. I'm sure Danny knows him from days gone by. So to see those young players coming through. So I think sometimes in these tough moments produces opportunity for other players, and it's those other players stepping up and taking that opportunity, really.
Yeah. Michael, so early take on League One. You've obviously seen Stevenage and Leyton Orient. What do you see in the division?
Yeah, so I think it's a real exciting division now. I think you've got teams that want to dominate and play, and I've seen Oxford like to have the ball, and Bolton, who are very, very good with the ball. So I think you've got a mix of teams that want to control possession. I think you've got other teams that are physically strong and can punish you and direct and get in behind. So I think you're challenged every game with a different style, which is really good. But there's no doubt about it. There's pace and power in this league that can hurt you. So you've got to have that punch as well. You've got to have that punch of pace and power. And there's some real quality at times. I thought Leyton Orient at times play some real good football. It's hard to get up the pitch to get against them. And I think it's getting that balance when you need to play and when you don't need to play, and you've got to get up the pitch and be strong. But for sure, the one thing is you have to be good defensively. You have to be good defensively, or you can get punished.
Yeah, you've referenced already your development in terms of working with younger players. And is that something you see as a big part of your job moving forward? Again, management so much now is about, just winning football matches. But is this a bigger project? Is this one of the things that really attracted you to Lincoln City in terms of moving the club forward as a whole? And do you think you'll obviously be given that time to really come in and do that?
Yeah, I think so. I think probably the squad's quite a young squad. There's young players coming through. I think we have to be honest as a club. It's not blessed with spending millions on top players and top talent like some people. So you have to grow that and be self-sustainable. That's one area that I've probably excelled in, is taking players from 21s into first teams who can go into the Premier League and international players. But I also think there's something in it where every day just try and improve every player, whether you're 21, 24, 27. My philosophy is I'll try and help you to become better. And I think that's easier said than done, because players want to play and they're out the team, they're in the team, and training is difficult and easy. So, but ultimately coming from an honest position of every day trying to improve you, whether you're old, young, and also within that, how we want to play. So they have a new way of playing maybe that I have to try and improve them on. So it's quite exciting working with all the players of all levels here. And I think all of them can improve, and hopefully I can help them to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just maybe for some of the listeners at home who haven't obviously experienced this, what would you say are the big differences between working in an academy setup where you've come from previously and now coming into this first team environment for you as a manager, or maybe things that you've experienced even in this first week and your experience, of course, in interim charge previously?
What, in terms of a manager or in terms of the players?
Well, both really, your perspective and then maybe that player's mentality that differs slightly.
Oh, that's a big question. Good question. I think in terms of the management of, if you like, an academy structure, it's more like building a technical base to be ready for the physicality of the game. But sometimes they're very good players but don't have the physicality yet, and you have to wait for that physicality. I think with League One, you need the physicality to compete first and foremost, and then you build the technical base. I think the pace and power at League One is there, and sometimes that differs in academies again, because as we know, not every academy player has the luxury of going into senior professional football. I think as a manager, seeing the top level at Old Trafford and seeing the top level in the Premier League for 9 or 10 months gives you a level and a bar where these players need to get to if they want to be top players. And the ruthlessness, if you make a mistake at that level, you get punished, because the game is so difficult. And then how we can support players to understand the level here on and off the pitch every day. And I think that's one thing that I will bring and speak to them about, is if this is the level, how do you meet that level and how can I support you to get there, really? I don't know if that answers your question, Jobi.
Yeah, fantastic. Really a great oversight, really, of the challenges, and just taking it on to Danny at a club like Lincoln City, where you are restricted probably financially versus a lot of clubs at your level. How difficult is that to go and find those real gems in academies and marry up that technically gifted player to the demands and physicality that Michael's just explained really well, and getting a player that can come out and produce results for you to get wins, which ultimately you have to do?
Yeah, I think that is the key to probably Lincoln City's success going forward, is to try to identify these young players and then to develop them, and then to hopefully enjoy them in the first team, and then to eventually sell them as assets, and then to bring that money back into the budget and to continue to build and hopefully get the club into the Championship. I think that has to be the long-term ambition for the football club now where it's at. And it just interests me, Michael. Obviously, you picked up a team that in recent times have played on the counter attack, probably sat behind the ball with good distances and been difficult to break down, and then try to break on teams. And how much is that? How much will that change in your tenure? What's your game idea, and how do you implement that in season? Because that obviously, as we know, is such a huge challenge with the games coming so thick and fast.
Yeah, I agree with you, Danny. I think that's probably the biggest challenge coming in as a coach, like coming in and wanting to get your ideas across. And if you go too fast, you can run off the front of the boat, right? And I think that's really important to not do that. I think there's some really good attributes of playing on the counter, and I can see that, and they've been built in a way that's really exciting. So I think it's about keeping all what I believe is the good stuff within my game model, and we'd want that, and then adding little bits as we go. Maybe things like having a little more spells of possession in their half, which hopefully you've probably seen a little bit about, where we can, I call it, put the tent pegs down. When we got in there, how do we put the tent pegs down a little bit, stay a bit longer, and just start to build from there, really. And then over time, we've got to win games, but over time try and build a way that I believe I'd like to play, and the players come with me on that. But you're so right, it's going to take a lot of time. It's always easier in pre-season, right, when you can get all your principles in place and your new players in place. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges, because we're going, like, Danny, we're going from like regenning, match planning, probably only had really 2 sessions with them so far about tactics and how we want to play. So it's definitely a slow burner on that front.
Michael, with those challenges that you have mentioned, not having a pre-season, coming in, midway through it, what is the ambition there? What can be achieved this season? Obviously, you've come in, the club's in a good position in the league. Is it there to really go and kick on and get yourselves in those playoffs?
Yeah, it's in a great position. I think it's a great position to come into. I think it's a great position to be, up and around it. I think we have to get some bodies back to be competing for the rest of the season. I think we have to, be honest and reinforce maybe in January in certain ways. And let's see if we can get in those playoff positions. And if we can drive into those playoff positions, I think that'll be success. In the short term, but like Danny says, I think long term, why not? Why not try and push for a championship spot if everything's built in the background in the right way? I think that's where I see the ambition, and I think that's where the players in the club see the ambition, and I think that's where old managers and fans and people that have been connected to the club would love to see Lincoln City.
Absolutely, and I see that you're now a fully fledged member of the manager fist pump gang. You joined the likes of Pete Wild, Stephen Clement, Steve Evans currently running the show on that front. So hopefully from your point of view, we see that a little bit more. Danny, anything else just to add from your point of view?
No, just for me, just to wish you all the very best. As I said, Michael, it's a club that has a special place in our family's heart, and it's a brilliant football club with so many brilliant people at all different levels. And I know you're going to thoroughly enjoy your time there, and I have no doubt you're going to bring lots of success to the club. So I wish you all the very, very best, and I look forward to continuing to follow the Imps.
Brilliant, and the door's always open, Danny. You know that the door's always open for a coffee.
You want to drop. Yeah, I look forward to that. Thanks,
Michael. Thank you very much for joining us, and we wish you all the best and hopefully catch up again soon. Good luck.
Thank you.